meant to start with saying howdy, partner, because my hat is this. I was going to change shirts before I came on here because this one's a little bit too tight. And then I was like, no, it's fine. But it's not. It's really not. Can you guys hear me okay? Let me know if you can hear me okay. If anyone's here. Love the hat. Thank you. Iam's Pet Food. You can hear me okay? Okay, sorry. My mic thing like came up differently than I was expecting on my end. So, appreciate it. Oh, here, let me put the Nearpod in the chat. Sorry, my nose is kind of stuffy. Okay, here's the Nearpod. Welcome, welcome to class, everybody. Let me make this a little bit bigger for myself. It's always like quite the thing to set up my screen. I need a bigger screen. That's the real problem, is that I need a bigger screen. The title of the live. Oh my god, Lena is back. Lena hasn't been here in a while because Lena, didn't you have like work or something like that, or like something like completely valid that you were doing? Lena's back to take notes and to enjoy this time here. So, how's everyone's vibe today? Was just watching the TikTok about your dad when I got the notification. Hi, Miss Redacted. Hi. Hey. Hey. I need to look at my notifications. I forgot I posted that. Sorry I'm a little bit late. I was in the shower because I was kind of feeling like a little bit anxious just because my body does that now. So I did a Peloton and then I need to take a shower. Oh, it's low-key not the vibe since it's hot and your AC is not working. Yeah, that is not the vibe. The notifications of these streams literally make my day. Oh my god. That made me happy. Back from Snowden. Welcome. Oh my god, this video kind of got a lot of likes quickly. Oh, love the internet. I love being on the internet. I was just thinking today how grateful I am to be on the internet. Oh my god, Wen Bossy, hi, how are you? And thanks for the follow. Omaji, YOYEHC. You're sad? Why are you sad, Fruity Friend? Fruity Friends aren't really like, that's not a sad vibe of a username. But why are you sad? I want to scoot back a little bit. My back hurts. That's still good. I can still see everybody. Maybe. Don't fall on me. This ring light is about to fall on me. Oh, okay. Let's try and put you up a little straighter, big guy. Okay, there we go. There's a concert in my area in October and on a Monday. The chat broke? Oh, thank you. Thank you for letting me know. God, I really need to get us like a different streaming software. Ew, what the fuck is that? Delete. Delete. Literally, what the fuck is going on? What the fuck? Sorry, my thing is being super, super weird. Sorry, that was very odd. Okay, let me try again. That was like kind of scary. Okay, it's normal again. Sorry, it like completely changed the layout of my screen and deleted everything when I was trying to edit it. It like pulled up something else somehow. Speaking of needing a new streaming software. Maybe I need to update this one. Probably both. Okay. I can make you a little bit. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. Let me catch up with the chat. It turned orange. Oh, you guys see that? That was crazy. Can you drop the link? Yes. There's the link. Let me catch up in the chat. Quarter Life Crisis. Welcome here. I got a job as a school counselor and I quit teaching. I'm so happy. Oh my god, Kirby Face, subscribing and you got a new job. Thank you. Yes, I just dropped the Nearpod link. Thank you, thank you. First time viewer, very excited. Welcome, welcome, CE Bonds. I saw a TikTok account that made super cool Twitch overlays and wanted to tag you but didn't want to impose. Tag me. Go for it. I might see it, I might not see it. I try and be good about checking my mentions. So today I have 3 drinks because you always need to have a lot of drinks around you. Drink number 1, Dr. Pepper. Drink number 2, this lime tequila and soda mimitas that I don't think I'll like, but I'm trying to make myself like these because they were expensive. Drink number 3, water. We love water. We love water. 1 for hydration, 1 for energy, 1 for fun. Exactly. You guys get it. That's a good one. Y'all heard that? Y'all fucking heard that. I know y'all heard that. Y'all had to have heard that with how close this is to the microphone. That was like a commercial. That was literally like a commercial. I've been living off vanilla Coke and water for the past week. I hope you're eating food. What did everybody eat today? I did not have a very healthy girl eating today. Like, I should have eaten more. I did not eat enough today. Because I've having really bad anxiety today. Fucking PMDD be kicking ass. All I ate today, I had 3 buffalo chicken nuggets, and then I had 2 slices of pizza, and I ate that at like 1, and that's all I ate today. Which is like, that's not enough sustenance for a person. You had a whole Walmart lasagna? That sounds fucking good right now. Chipotle? Oh my god, I love Chipotle. I have a gift card to them right now, but I never go because the only one close to me, there's no parking there, and like, I'm not gonna pay $7 in parking to get Chipotle, but it's too far to walk. And every time I'm in that area, it's to go out to eat at places way better than Chipotle. So I just never use my gift card. Currently doing a colonoscopy prep. That's unfortunate. Sorry you're dealing with that. 2XL coffees, a cheese stick, and a Slim Jim. Scorpio plant, just Twitch. I have lived that day many times. There's been many days that I have just had Slim Jim's cheese and coffee. So I have lived that struggle, and I have been there. And I'm here to tell you that you deserve better. You deserve a real meal. Eat a real meal. Unpopular opinion, Qdoba is better than Chipotle. I don't have that near me, but I've had it before. I had it before, and I did a bad job ordering, is the situation with that. Tried the really good chickpea cheese puff things and have allergies. Oh my god, they were good and cheesy with no cheese or like grain ingredients. That's good. Pizza Wednesday. I had a Roy Rogers breakfast sandwich this morning and then mac and cheese for dinner. Love mac and cheese. You know what's one of my favorite things is the Trader Joe's like pepperoni pizza mac and cheese. That's one of my favorite at work meals. I love that meal. It's my favorite. It's so good. Because it's cheap too and it always fills me up. The Diablo queso is so good. What's your experience working with school counselors? My experience working with school counselors is that they were very nice, well-intended people that had way too much stuff on their plate and had to deal with a lot of bullshit, so I never really interacted with them a ton because they were dealing with so much bullshit. That's my experience with counselors. I've never worked with them very closely. I'm about to make some pizza rolls and have some chips and salsa. Pizza rolls and chips and salsa are 2 of my like favorite go-to easy meals. Like chips and salsa is one of my favorite like snacks of all time because it has the chips and the salt and it's really good, but it still has tomatoes in it and vegetables, so it doesn't make you feel as like sluggish as if you ate something with like a ton of cheese in it or something like that. At least me. If I eat like a ton of that, I just kind of feel like bleh. Afterwards. Love a chips and salsa moment. Was actually thinking about a couple seconds ago when we were talking about food. After I stream, I always go to my boyfriend's house because I'm codependent. If you heard that, no, you didn't. But I have chips and salsa there, and I just remembered. And I was like, oh, I'm so excited to eat my chips and salsa later. But then I was like, wait, am I going to want to eat my chips and salsa? Because I might be hungry, because I was just thinking I haven't eaten enough today. So I wouldn't be surprised if after the stream, I'm like, hungry, and I want to get, there's a sandwich place I like on the way to his house that I get a lot. It's good to be self-aware. Can you drop the Nearpod link again? Yes. There you go. I would live off chips and salsa if I could. Me too. What do you mean if I could? I did it. I've done it many times. Okay, so how's everyone's vibe today? Not good. DoorDash lost my order. That shit literally makes me so mad. I turn into such a Karen, not to the DoorDash worker, but just like alone in my house. I'd be so fucking mad. Like I just be in my house and I'm like, this is ridiculous. This is unacceptable. Like to myself. Because how do you lose it? Like what? What happened? Are you okay? Like, how do you lose it? I like to mix queso and salsa. I'm kind of funny about mixing things. When it comes to dips like that, like I like all my dips separate. And I get angry. Like if I'm at Mexican with you and you mix the queso and the salsa, don't do that. Don't, actually, okay. Queso into salsa, pretty okay. Don't get crazy with it, but a little bit, pretty okay. Like you can dip. Just don't get crazy with it. You can cross-contaminate a little bit, but you can't be like mixing. You get what I'm saying? Like if it's like a dip and a dip, that's fine. But don't just fucking mix that bullshit together. The restaurant didn't even put it down, so I had to cancel it and I didn't get my money back yet. That's the worst. Usually we ask for a third bowl to mix. See, that's what you need to be doing, because if I was with you, I'd be like, don't do that. Okay, let's see what everyone else's vibe is. Just chilling like a teacher on break. Good for you. Corporate girly, tired of accounting firm partners being dumb and not knowing how to work basic Excel. Tag yourself. I'm not knowing how to work basic Excel. My boyfriend is so good at Excel, it really scares me. Like, how do you know that? That's like kind of weird and dangerous that you just like with your little keyboard clickety clackities, you just be knowing that shit. That's very jarring. Very suspicious. Guys, what color notes? Oh, orange. Great choice. The Florida Secretary of Ed just commented directly on the article I was in. I'm sweating. What did they say? Was it like Slay Queen? I'm gonna guess no. Vibe is alcohol. Feeling a bit down, happy to be on stream. Happy you're here. I bailed my sister out of jail for doing dumb stuff. Now we're chilling. What about you? I can tell you this. If my sister bailed me out of jail for something stupid, she would definitely not let me be chilling. I don't know what she would be doing, but I would not be chilling. Fuck, I need a way to open this. Oh my god, wait, look at this snack that I got. This little convenience store had like a bunch of international snacks, and I spent like a gazillion dollars there. So he gave me this for free because I was really nice. This camera quality is like actually fire. Did you guys know that this is like an actual real good camera? Do you see this? Look at this camera quality right now. I wish I wasn't holding, I wish I didn't like, can I do this? I'm gonna try, can this be our class photo? I don't think I can handle that. Yeah, I need two hands to take the class photo, sorry. Or like both my hands on the keyboard. Dang beauty guru. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Hey. Stupendous camera quality. How did y'all learn Excel? I don't know how they learned Excel. Okay, 2016 YouTuber. Y'all are fucking flaming me. Oh man, look, Selling Sunset. Everyone at my work watches Selling Sunset. Everyone's like, did you see Selling Sunset? And I never know what the fuck they're talking about. Because the problem is, my boyfriend doesn't watch reality TV. And usually I only watch TV with him. And so, like, I already have so many reality shows to watch when I'm not with him. And I don't really have, like, I have too much shows to watch in the time that I have, you know? Like, I'm usually not caught up on my shows. So I can't add a new one into the rotation. Yeah, get the 3 baby burgers, I think. I love a baby burger moment. Better than a big one. Because I feel like the big ones always fall apart halfway through. Depending on where you get it from. Like, okay, let's discuss, because I need to discuss restaurant burgers. Why are so many restaurant burgers literally the size of my head and this tall? You can't bite into them. Like, you can only add so many fucking ingredients to a burger. I'm all in favor of giving people a lot of food, but some of them, like, really just be taking it too far. Like, they're piled so high with stuff that, like, you can't eat the burger because it's so piled high with stuff. You end up having to fork and knife it, and then when you try and press down on it, things start falling out, and, like, watch me, I love thick burgers. So if you have a thick-ass piece of meat, here, I put the Nearpod again. If you have a thick-ass, like, piece of meat, like the thick-ass burger, like the actual burger, the patty, that's great. You need to be conservative with your toppings. If you want to pile a fucking egg and avocado and some grilled onions on there, you need to make your thing a little bit flatter. Like, it just can't handle all that layering. I personally love smash burgers. Love a smash burger. Ketchup and cheese, all I need, maybe a pickle or two. So to me, a perfect burger, cooked medium well. Only thing I get medium well. Steak, rare, every time. So burger, medium well. Pepper jack cheese. Pickles. And something spicy, like a buffalo sauce, sriracha mayo, something spicy, pickles, what am I missing? And onions. Sometimes a tomato. Occasionally a tomato, it depends. Burger to bun ratio is important. I got a chicken sandwich from Chili's once that had a whole chicken breast on each half of the sandwich. I couldn't finish it. I had to give the rest to my dad. That's the opposite of a problem. Fried egg. Oh, I love a fried egg on a burger. Love a fried egg on a burger. You know what I hate on a burger? Is a fucking yolky egg. Like a runny yolky egg on a burger. Because, like, this is a handheld item. Runny eggs on fork and knife items only. You know what I mean? I don't want a runny egg running down my hands while I'm eating a burger. What do I look like to you? Tomato only eating in restaurant, not delivery. Yep, that's it. The runny egg is my favorite part. Oh, really? On the burger? It's just not too messy for me. I'm weird about getting stuff on my hands. I love a runny egg and other things. Like, oh my God, Eggs Benedict? I fucking love Eggs Benedict. I went to brunch on Saturday. Runny eggs with toast. Yes. Oh, I don't like peanut butter. Sorry. I went to brunch on Saturday, and it was like Eggs Benedict, but it was like the little English muffin, and then a crab cake with like lemon in it, and then the egg on top of it. And then instead of hollandaise sauce, it had like the green goddess dressing, which the hollandaise sauce is the best part. Kind of wish I had asked for like a little bit of both. But so good. Runny egg with toast and avocado and chili oil or red pepper flakes. Eggs Benny and ramen are the only times runny eggs are appropriate. I'll do a runny egg on there's this place by my work. This drink is disgusting, by the way. There's this place by my work that has it's like a noodle dish, like an Asian noodle dish with like steak and stuff. And it comes with runny egg and I like it. Maybe I'll get that for lunch tomorrow. It's so expensive though. It's like $21. Crab cake Eggs Benedict is my kryptonite. Have you had, I like how it's been 17 minutes and we were only talking about food. Have you had like salmon Eggs Benedict? That is my favorite. Runny egg and fried rice is decent, yeah. I like fried rice, but there's other things that I like so much more. Like, I never get fried rice because I love a noodle dish way more, and I love, like, a beef and broccoli or, like, chicken and broccoli vegetable, like, something like that. I love those way more. So if I'm getting, like, Chinese food, I just never get fried rice because it's just, to me, it's, like, not the best thing that they have. I love smoked salmon Eggs Benedict, runny egg and sourdough toast. Oh, my God. So fucking good. Make it a Friday treat. Well, the problem is my coworker who really likes that place that I could convince to go isn't going to be there on Friday, but I'll be there tomorrow. And I already agreed to go to lunch somewhere else on Friday. I spend literally like $150 a week on food, I think. Haha. But it's okay because I don't really grocery shop because I go out to eat every day at work for the most part. Sometimes if I'm feeling fiscally conservative, I'll go to Trader Joe's and buy something to eat that's like $5 max, like the salads and like the mac and cheese, and I'll cook it in the microwave at work and stuff. Because we do have a freezer at work, which is really nice because you can put frozen things in it. But anywho, what was I saying? Oh, anyway, I don't have to spend that much on groceries because I usually either eat out or when I'm at my boyfriend's house, he has HelloFresh. So really the only thing I buy at the grocery store is snacks from Trader Joe's. So I spend like $150 a week on eating out and then like $40 on groceries. You do live lavish, MLMAO, fiscally conservative. I think it's fiscally conservative when I go to Trader Joe's. Oh my God, I went yesterday and I was so fucking mad because you have to pay for parking there, but if they'll validate it at the checkout thing to make it free for 30 or 40 minutes or like enough time to get in and get out. You know what I mean? I think it's 40 minutes. But anyway, I fucking left my parking thingy in my car, so I couldn't get it validated. And the guy was really nice, and he was like, oh, if you want to leave your groceries right here and, like, run upstairs and go get your parking thing, then you can come back down and then, like, validate it and then go back. You know, like, he suggested I do that. But I was really hungry, and I wanted to go make dinner, so I was like, no, it's okay. I don't want to waste, like, 10 minutes running up and down the stairs to the parking garage, but thank you. So I had to pay $3 for parking at Trader Joe's. It was annoying. And so at my work, I have to pay for parking every day, but then they reimburse you, but you have to submit the reimbursements, and the website to submit it is like mad annoying and confusing. And today I was doing my June reimbursements because they're like due. So I was doing my June parking reimbursements, and you literally have to go day by day and so a lot of people like get a receipt out of the machine, but I feel like that's a waste of paper. So I just go in like my banking like website and screenshot the transaction and like that's enough for them. But anyway, I was doing it and a bunch of them were missing. Like, I couldn't find them. And I was like, how the fuck is this possible? Like, it doesn't let you out of the garage without paying. And I know I went to work that day. So, like, how did I pay for this? Because I use one card for everything. Is Trader Joe's under the parking lot? Yeah, so, like, it's, like, Trader Joe's, and it's, like, a couple other places. Like, there's, like, a laser place and, like, some other shit like that and, like, other stores. And then, like, it's a parking garage on top of it. So you, like, pull in and drive up a hill, and then you, like, walk down the stairs, and there's the Trader Joe's. It seems way easier to pay for your employees outright than having to reimburse them every month. Yeah, I don't understand it, but whatever. So this is what I think it is. I think it's that, like, at other offices in the company, they don't do that. Like, other offices have free parking, and mine just doesn't. So I think it's, like, they're doing that to get around it. You know what I mean? Like, they're doing that in a way to get around it because it's, like, not a part of a regular office budget, if I had to guess. What's something that's been so normalized we don't even realize it's a scam anymore? Whatever job's parking situation is. No, it's really crazy. It's actually way worse because where I work is in, like, a cool part of town. And so there's a lot of restaurants there. And most of the restaurant staff, their jobs don't pay for their parking, and they have to pay for parking every single day. So, like, it's annoying that I have to, like, submit a reimbursement and I have to pay for it out of pocket. But, like, and I told them when I was interviewing, I was like, if you don't pay for my parking, I'm not going to work there, because it's literally like $200 a month if you add it up over every day. No, it's not 200. It's like 100. Never mind. But anyway, $100 is a lot of money. I'm not paying for that. And so it makes me, like, frustrated because a lot of the workers don't get their parking reimbursed. Like my little work neighbors in the other places. I have no idea how parking garages work. That's my cross to bear. All of them work differently. I hate it. My high school was like that. You could buy a parking pass to use the parking lot or had to pay for city parking. Yeah, when I was in high school, you had to pay for parking, but it was only $200 a year, which is, like, still mad stupid, but it's not as bad. Okay. We've been here for 22 minutes, so let's go ahead and get into our actual lesson. Pop 2 special gummies and I'm ready to learn. Slay. Picked 30 to 40 olives for dinner. I was going to say we've all been there, but I hate olives, so I haven't been there, but I've been there metaphorically with other foods. You know what I'm saying? Literally, I wouldn't work somewhere where I'd have to pay to get to work. Yeah, exactly. Like, no. Like, no! What? I honestly feel like I know no companies do this, so it's, like, unrealistic to ask, but I feel like they should pay for your lunch every day, because, like, I could be eating at home for pretty cheap and make good food at my house, but now I'm here. So I think you should buy me lunch because you want me to be here. To me, that's polite. Like, if you invite someone somewhere, you pay for it. I was raised that way. I was raised to believe if you invite someone out to a meal, you are picking up the tab. So if you are inviting me to be in this building from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day, I think lunch is your responsibility. You know what I mean? My high school's parking pass was more expensive than my college. Yeah, I did have to pay for parking in high school, but I went to high school in, like, an upper middle class area, and I think they used it as, like, a fundraiser for, like, some bullshit. I don't fucking know. But yeah. Oh, and they also had, like, a place that was cheaper. Like, there was a place that was a lot cheaper that was, like, a couple blocks away. It was, like, a church. You could pay for parking with them. Also, the neighborhood I grew up in was, like, right next to the school, and a ton of families would just let kids park for free, like, in their driveways every day. They'd be like, yeah, you can just park here and walk to school. Okay, let's do it. Let's get into it. What are we... Fucking load. Okay. So, what the fuck are we learning today? We are learning about post-World War II America. Fair warning, some of these slides are from, like, literally when I was a public school teacher, because this was, like, my favorite lesson, and some of the slides were good, so I just copied them. So, if some of the slides you're like, that is much more professional and, like, much less joking around and much less based than I'm used to, that's why. It's not the majority of them. It's, like, there's 40 slides and, like, 12 of them are from old lessons. So when you see some of them that look different and are kind of different, that's why. But they're still good slides. Doesn't Google have free lunches for employees? Yeah, a lot of, like, the tech companies that are, like, based in California do that. Like, my friend worked at Google. She didn't work at Google, but she did like the company she worked for did a project for Google, so she was working at the Google offices for like a month. And they have free lunches. It's like a cafeteria, but it's really good. Like it's really healthy and really good. And oh, this is good. Someone said that's a con too. So apparently a lot of companies kind of use that tactic to get you to work crazy hours because like you're just there all the time and everything's taken care of and you end up like your whole life is work and everything is there, which would absolutely happen to me. Let me just say, I am the most drinking the Kool-Aid ass bitch you will meet. It would be so easy to recruit me into a cult. I would be like, we get free lunches? Yeah, I'll work 20 hours a day. Why would I even bother going home? I'll just sleep under my desk. Like, that is literally me. That is literally me. They schedule them in a way to encourage unpaid overtime for salaried workers and pay you less. That's the only good thing about working in film. Okay, so let's get into post-World War II America that led to the capitalist hellscape we're in today. So I want to give you some context. I want to give you some context of the time period post-World War II America. That means after World War II. World War II ended in 1945. So let's talk about what the fuck was going on before 1945. The old guy told me there used to be a whole barber at work in addition to laundry and cafeteria. Bro, the whole 50s and 60s when like every corporation was only white dudes, that was a fucking movie. They worked like 2 hours. Let me just fucking tell you. They worked like 2 hours a day, literally. They would take a golf lunch. It takes like 3 fucking hours to play a golf. They would play golf all the time. When they didn't have a golf lunch, they would go to a steakhouse and get fucking blackout drunk and smoke cigars. Hey Queen, joining from Yankee Candle. I fucking love Yankee Candle. My grandma actually used to work at Yankee Candle. Oh no, it wasn't Yankee Candle, it was the Hallmark store. Never mind. But then she quit because like they didn't want to give her time off and she was like, fuck that shit. So she quit. Very based of her. But anyway, what were we talking about? Oh, companies way back then. Like, what's that show about that? Mad Men? Yeah, Mad Men. Very much accurate, apparently. Like, they were really doing no work. They were just like, I hate my fucking wife. And they were like, me too. And, like, that was just working. And then they'd be like, Bill, here's $30,000. Like, it was a time. It was truly a time. This literally sounds like Mad Men. Yes. So that's why they want to go back to the 50s. Yes. Yes, that is why they want to go back to the 50s. That's why I was like, back in the 50s, we didn't have to worry about all this woke shit. It's because all they did at work was sexually harass their assistants and get drunk. That's a lot easier than having to do actual work. So, like, that's why they're always like, we want to go back to the 50s. That was their peak for them. You could buy a house for $30K or less. Bro, my fucking grandpa bought a house in Washington, D.C. for like $12,000. Okay? And then sold it. I was like, you couldn't have kept that shit? If you hear me in the afterlife, you couldn't have kept that shit? Don't make fun of me or be angry for me yelling at him. This was our banter. We talked like this. We have our big sale, $10.79 for big candles. Very yucky capitalism. You're like, I am at work. Do not recommend. However, the sale is good. Yeah. Imagine how much this would be worth today. So it wasn't in D.C. It was in Arlington, which is right outside of DC, but it was walking distance to DC. Like, that's how close to DC it was. And he bought it for like $12,000 fucking dollars and then sold it in the 70s and like made a lot of money on it. But imagine if like he had passed that down today, which he fucking could have. Our generation is going to start living in tiny homes. That's why I went corporate. Like, sorry I sold out, but like I refuse to live down bad. So I guess I'm just selling out to corporations. But I'm trying to not be a sellout. I'm a customer success manager. I'm running the numbers. I think I'll buy a nice double wide. So my boyfriend was making fun of me for this, but I was like, I want a trailer. Like, some of them are fucking nice. Are you gonna look at me and you're gonna tell me that I'm wrong? They're very cheap, and some of them are very nice. And I think I would do well in the community. And he was like, we're not living in a Florida trailer park. And I was like, you're not living in a Florida trailer park. I know what I'm doing. Worry about yourself. I think a lot of people are thinking about trailers right now. The way some campers are nicer than my apartment is so funny. Exactly! Like, my grandma's BFF had a Manhattan they bought for... It's $70,000 in the 70s and sold it for a couple million. They're so nice and so cheap. Like, they're a good option. They can actually be really nice. Babe, if you're watching this, I'm buying a trailer. I'm buying a trailer. I am buying a trailer. You can't fucking stop me. Oh my God, I took another step towards staying in my apartment today. Moved some money around, signed some paperwork. There's a little more paperwork. And then I'm redoing the apartment. I'm spending all my money on furniture. And I'm redoing everything. The rent for the land is $900 a month, so you got to buy one cash. Yeah, that's what I want to do, is I can buy one cash. And then redo it. My mom lives in an RV trailer park, and it's so nice, right next to the beach. This is what I'm saying. I can live a good life like this. Especially once I start working from home. That's my goal. Mark my words. By the end of the year, I will have a plan to work from home. Aren't we entering into a recession soon? That's future me's problem. I would so plop a mobile home right near a beach. That would be a vibe. Exactly. I can just chill outside, have a fire pit, like an old couch outside. It'd be great. I'm just so scared to be in a trailer during a tornado. I would just get insurance, and then every time there was inclement weather, I would just simply get a hotel and hope for the best. You know? That would be my vibe. Okay, so context about the time period that we're talking about today. World War II ended in 1945. What was going on before that was, well, World War II happened. And before that was the Great Depression. So as you can tell, the vibes were really not good for like a long time. Like from 1929 to 1945, the vibes were very bad. They were not good. They were very much not good from that time period. I'm like a little too naked. I don't really like this. So very not a good time for those years. So the World War II happened. I think houseboats are pretty cool. Oh, another great option. But anyway, so you can imagine, like think about it this way. The Great Depression starts and you're like 13. And then now it's been what? Like 15 years? Yeah, it's been like 15 years. So now you were 13, now you're 28. Your whole, like, really conscious life has just been bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, I think the way a lot of people feel now with, like, COVID and Trump and Biden and, like, everything terrible, they're like, oh, it's just never ending. It was never ending for them. Like, they had fucking the Depression and then World War II. And then World War II was over and they were ready to fucking party. So today we're going to be talking about like 1945 to 1960-ish. This is like the baby boomer generation. This is around the time that they were born. So we are learning about the world that baby boomers were raised in. So today we're learning about why boomers are like that. So they're the greatest generation. Is that them? I thought it was the one before that. Are boomers the greatest generation? Life is BS right now. Yeah, that's facts. The greatest generation. Who is the greatest generation? Yeah, this is the greatest generation is born from 1901 to 1927. So it's the greatest generation, and then what's after them? The greatest generation is like the ones who fought in World War II. Oh, the silent generation. Yeah. Yes. That's how I feel about my life. 9/11 to now, constant bullshit. Isn't the greatest generation one before the boomers? The boomers are not the greatest generation. Okay, so the end of World War II. May 8th, 1945, World War II. So it's greatest, silent, and then boomers? I think so. God, I keep burping. I wonder if it has anything to do with the multiple carbonated beverages I'm drinking. May 8th, 1945, World War II ends in Europe. Still going on in Japan, like in the Pacific Ocean, but ends in Europe. Germany surrenders. Hitler kills himself. Well, that's the wrong order. Hitler kills himself. Germany surrenders. Do you guys think Hitler killed himself? I do. They came out with, like, dental evidence or whatever. So this is VE Day, Victory in Europe Day. People were in the streets, and they were like, fuck yeah, bitch, VE Day. And then September 2nd, so you can tell, not that far apart, May to September. September 2nd, World War II is officially over. This is like after we bombed the Japanese, which in my opinion was like, we could have figured out a different way to end the war, you know what I mean? The derogatory gets me every time. Yeah, so after we bombed the Japanese, which again, could have figured out another solution other than that. That's when World War II officially ended. And at the signing of the agreement that brought an end to 194 days of global war, MacArthur told the world in a radio broadcast, "Today the guns are silent. A great tragedy has ended. A great victory has been won." So World War II, everyone was fucking lit that the world was over. Oh my god, Vagina Day, as my students called it. None of mine said that. I'm a little disappointed that they didn't think of that joke. Yeah, so you can see there's a picture of people celebrating in the streets. Load, please. Thank you. Thank you. So what do you think the post-World War II vibes were? Do you think people were happy, relieved, party? I feel like it would be kind of like getting out of jail. Where you'd be like, damn, that was fucking crazy. That was a long time. The Great Depression and then World War... Like, I think that's what it would be. And you'd be like a little fucked up. Like, you'd be like, I don't really know if I want to relax. Like, relieved and traumatized. My great-grandma is 96. I cannot fathom what she's seen. Me either. And the chat's broken. Let me fix that while y'all are answering this question. God, I can't fathom what she's seen. Does she want to be on here with me? I want to talk to her. I'm like, not joking, but I am joking. You know. Actually, I made my little picture thing too little. There we go. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Okay. Woohoo. Marge might be down. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. The vibes are like, that was fucking horrible. Yeah. They were getting trashed. Probs getting drunk. Very much glad all the BS was over. Apparently making babies. Relieved, but like cautiously. Getting absolutely fucking wasted. They did it like how they do on Discovery Channel. I interviewed my grandma for a history class when she was like 90 and that shit was high-key traumatic. Do you want a trauma dump? Because I'm ready to hear it if you do want a trauma dump. I love a trauma dump moment. When people are like, I don't want a trauma dump on you. I'm like, no, I want you to. Like, it fuels me in a way that I'll never fully understand. Yeah, this is disgusting. I can't do this. I interviewed my grandma for a history class one time, and she was telling me about how her dad was, like, obsessed with cars and really racist. And I was like, that checks out for a man born in Michigan in, like, what, the 1890s or something like that. It's like, that would make sense. He was an auto worker and racist, so, you know. We had a Vietnam vet speak once, and he spoke about the commies for 30 minutes. Watch him not even have been a vet. Like, when my grandpa got back from World War II, they met when she was working at a stock exchange, and they moved across the country immediately. The vibes were, I have PTSD now. God. I will dump my grandma's trauma in one sec. Okay, so we can tell that the vibes were probably pretty fucking wild. So the first thing that we had to do is demobilization. Demobilization is, you can see, this is like a school slide. This is what I used to set up my slides at school. And looking back, this text is not big enough. The process of ending military operations, halting wartime production, and retiring troops from active service. So you can see the troops are coming back, you're changing the production, all of that. We also have to keep in mind that World War II, like, we did not have the military industrial... The hot pink is very on brand for you. It is, I know. Oh my god, it really is. Look at this. But... in World War II, we didn't have the military-industrial complex that we had today. So a lot of companies that were making, like, passenger ships converted to making warships. So now they're going to convert to making passenger ships. So, like, our economy really had some adjusting to do with our supply chains and stuff like that, just because we did not have these war companies. It was, like, regular manufacturing companies building most of this stuff. Okay, Betty Crocker Homemaker Grandma Trauma dumped on us, so we're about to read this. Oh... Katrin PM 2000, thanks for the follow, and Megan Aflame, thanks for the resubscribe. Okay, so she was born in like 1926, and her family was from Poland and all that stuff. So trauma number one, Drama Queen 1018 subscribed. Thank you. So she was born in 1926. Her family was from Poland, so all that is trauma number one. I'm guessing she lived through World War II and escaped. Trauma number two was raising chickens in the city and getting attacked by them. Oh my God. Trauma three was her brother dying in the war. That's tough. And her dad dying a few months before her wedding. Trauma 4 was being in a sucky marriage, regretted being married. Bro, older women be really spilling the tea about their husbands. Every time I hang out with women that are married, they're like, don't get fucking married. Look at me. Look at me. Don't get fucking married. And that's all they talk about the whole time. And I'm like, okay, queen. Sorry for what you're going through. Sorry about your husband. Derogatory. And she had the nerve to die 2 years ago when I had AP test. Not the AP test. She would have slayed that test, honestly. You should have made her take it for you if she was still alive. I would have been like, Grandma, you want to do something for me? McCarthyism was right after World War II, right? Wasn't that about accusing people of being commies? Yes, literally our government went batshit crazy. We're not talking about that in this lesson. Probs could have included it. Actually, that would have been like a whole other can of worms we couldn't have gotten into. But yeah, I want to do a lesson on that because it was very, very weird and very odd. Very not normal. And very many people had their rights violated. My grandma was engaged 4 times. I love that. I love that. I think you should get engaged as many times as you want. I think getting engaged, it's like a trial run. That's what it's for. Because if someone's been married like 4 or 5 times, it's like, okay, I'm kind of questioning your ability to make long-term legal decisions. Like, no shade, but clearly that's not something you're skilled in. But if someone's been engaged 4 times, you know what that tells me, that someone's been engaged 4 times, is that they know when to give up and they are self-aware. They know when to call it quits, and they're not going to keep doing something just because it's, like, good for optics. If you've been engaged 4 times and not gotten married, you're the CEO of doing whatever you want. Because you're like, never mind. I love Polish girlies. Hi. My professor kept making complaints about her husband during the lecture today, and it was so awkward. My grandma ran away with my grandpa at 15. He was 18. Ooh. That's not as bad as a lot of the other ones I've heard, but it's not good. You know what I'm saying? They know what they deserve. No, literally, because she had it right. Okay, so demobilization is coming back from war. So the most immediate task after World War II was demobilizing the military and reintegrating those veterans into civilian life. They had PTSD like a motherfucker. So many of these dudes came back. So this is really who I feel bad for. Were like men that were married, went to go fight in the war, and then came back with crazy PTSD and started beating the shit out of their wives. Like, imagine your nice, loving husband goes to war and then comes back as a completely different person, and it's like the 1940s, so it's not like you can just get a divorce and shit like that. It was, like, really hard back then. But anyway, that happened to a lot of people, and that would really suck. That would really suck. That would be very difficult in a lot of ways. My other grandma had an arranged marriage when she was 17 and he was 23. That's bad. 17 and 23 is worse than 18 and 15, in my opinion. They're very far apart. My grandma got my grandpa to convert to marry her, certified girl boss. That is pretty iconic. My professor told us that men can divorce us, but a degree won't. Okay, period. What did they do for shell shock? Nothing? Yeah, pretty much. They were like, have you tried drinking? Just go home like that. Yeah, they were like, you shake it off. That happened to my great-grandparents. He lost his thumb and mine and eventually dying of mad cow disease. Oh my God. That is so sad. Okay, so back to the veterans. Ugh. In response to popular pressure and concerns over the budget, the United States sought to demobilize the armed forces as quickly as possible. Can you imagine our government giving as much of a fuck about what people want today? Today, our government would be like, we'll demobilize when we feel like it. Like, the military-industrial complex is a motherfucker. But back then, all the Americans were like, hey, we're really worried about the budget. And then the government was like, you're right, we'll demobilize really quick. We're working on it. Like, love that responsiveness. I'm not saying the U.S. government at this time is good, but you have to admit that this is more responsive than what we would receive today. Chat is broken. Great. Fixing her now. We love this for us. Woohoo. Okay. There we go. Boom. And if we're worried about the budget now, they're like, okay, then starve. Who was president at this time? Different people for the time period we're talking about, but a lot of the stuff we're talking about today was under Dwight D. Eisenhower. Harry Truman was president during demobilization, right? Someone correct me if I'm wrong. I'm like 90% sure that's right. Yeah, Harry Truman. Okay, so side note, fun fact about women's rights. Women were encouraged to work outside the home during World War II, and that was really the first time that women were encouraged to work outside the home, and most women did work outside the home. Women of color have been working outside the home, like, for all of American history, you know, like, literally from day one. But I'm talking about white women and, like, upper, like, middle class and upper middle class women, like, not just women living in poverty, are now getting jobs. So when the men returned home from war, a lot of women lost their jobs because the women got hired because all the men were at war. Well, not all of them, but like a fucking lot of them. So they were like, oh, Rick is back. Fuck you, Cheryl. You can get fired. We're going to give Rick his job back. And then Cheryl was like, but I'm really good at this. Like, I'm very much good at this. And so the women, like, it kind of inspired the women's movement of the 1970s, like the feminist liberation movement, because they realized, like, in the 40s that started women, like, getting their own money and realizing that they could work and stuff like that. So it kind of, like, this is when you started seeing rumblings about women being like, we should have rights in the workplace and stuff like that, was because daddy government was like, ladies, step it up, we're at war, get a job. And then afterwards, when they tried to fire them, the ladies were like, we like working and we're really good at this. Women were really doing all the badass jobs, and then men came back and they were like, get back to the kitchen. Yes, and I don't remember this exactly, but I taught this to my students, and I don't remember the exact statistic, but they did a test, and the women did so much better on everything. Like, they were faster, there was less mistakes, it was more organized. And they did it, I don't remember what it was on. It was either planes or ships. And, like, putting it together and stuff, like, the women were just great at it, because women make great teams, you know what I mean? So yeah, this is Rosie the Riveter. She was like the figure that was like, women, try and work. I think it was planes. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so World War II is over, demobilization, and then the baby boom. So the birth rate, that is the number of births per 1,000 people, went up dramatically. At this time, people that were born during this time are referred to as baby boomers. So here's a picture of the baby boom in the hospital. You can see it's a lot of fucking babies. I don't really think it's safe how they have them laid up like that. Like, I'm not an expert. What are men good for? I'm not an expert, but I don't think they should have those babies just, like, stacked like that. The doc Life in the Time of Rosie the Riveter interviews 2 women who worked during World War II and the bullshit they went through. How did they not get them mixed up? Some of those babies got mixed up. There is no way none of those babies got mixed up. And then here's the boomers now. So, soldiers coming back from World War II ready to take their wife to Pound Town. I was so proud of myself for thinking of this gift to put in here. I will be starting a Gen Z child of baby boomer support group. I am a Gen Z child of baby boomer. Well, my dad's a baby boomer and my mom is Gen X. But my dad is like more of like a hippie baby boomer. Like, he doesn't really have boomer energy. He be chilling. Like, he is one of the most good vibes only people I know. Boomers were wild from the start. Yeah, for fucking real. Also, I don't have a meme in mind today, so if you guys see a good meme that you think should be our class photo, let me know. Because I don't have a plan. Okay, this is from students. Circle the peak of births in the United States. So if you're not on Nearpod and you want to, like, interact with this, look, it lets you circle it. You can pick the color that you want. I'm giving you the answer right now. You're welcome. The peak is, like, right here. I guess technically that's the peak. Oh, God damn it. God damn it! Peak. Right here. Peak. Okay. My mom is Gen X, dad is baby boomer, and they're both insane. I think all of our parents are insane. But yeah, look, you can draw. Oh, I forgot there's a timer on here. Sorry. That's how you can tell it's from students. That last slide should be the class photo. I'll see if we come up with a better one, because there are other memes, and then we'll do it. Yeah, you can tell that this is with students, because I will put a timer on everything for them. Because if you don't, they're just, like, in La La Land, and then when you're like, okay, let's move on, they're like, wait, no, I'm not done. But if you put a timer, it's like, oh, the timer went off. Sorry. Always blame the timer. It's never my fault. Sorry, it's the timer. Sorry, bestie. Is there a Mad Men meme, or is that too niche? I should have put that on there. I didn't think of Mad Men until I made the joke about it on here. But I'm sure it had a lot of good content that would have been cool for this. So I'm a little disappointed in myself for not thinking of it. Okay. We're going to review these little, they're like vanilla chocolate wafers. I don't know what language this is. Does anyone know what language this is? Raise your hand if you know what language this is. I don't know what that is. Does this stream get into redlining? Not as much as I wanted to because I was running out of slides, but yes. Yes, it does. Let me actually, I'm going to pull something up right now. Okay, good. I'm going to pull up some redlining maps because I meant to put them in here. This is good. This is fucking good. Very good. Okay. The wrong one. Miss Redacted ASMR era. Hot. Very good. Okay. We'll look at that later. I have high school yearbooks from major cities. It's insane to see the effects of redlining in them. Yeah, for real. Okay. So, let me drink my water. It's like all up in my mouth. Color of Law. A bunch of people on my TikTok were talking about that book today. So, the rise of the suburbs and the baby boom. Now that all the soldiers are coming back from war, they have their GI Bill benefits, which helps them get like affordable mortgages and stuff. They have their GI Bill, they have their baby, they have their wife. They're like, I need a fucking house. I need a fucking house. So our country built these suburbs. I grew up in an area that looks like this. Mine was less like identical. The houses were a little bit more unique, but very much all the same size lots, the little streets going in and out. This is not walkable at all. Look at this. If your house is here and this is your neighbor right here, you have to go all the way around unless you want to cut through people's backyards. This is not walkable. This is a very much a car layout. I hate this. I hate everything about it. Let me stop talking about city planning and get back to the GI Bill. So GI stands for government issued. This bill gave veterans unemployment benefits, cheap mortgages so they could buy homes, and money for college tuition. So 2 million veterans used this money to go to college, and 5 million used this money for other job trainings. Have you ever heard that Tiny Box's song about the suburbs? Hate it so much. And these wives without cars are stuck at home. Yeah, for real. It's fucking awful. What was I saying? But anyway, so lots of people use the money for college, but back then you could use it for trade school as well. And so a lot of people would like learn how to be electricians and like shit like that. Many of the African American veterans that were returning were denied these rights or experienced discrimination when they tried to use them, which we're going to talk more about. Here's another meme. This one is like sad and not funny, so we're not going to use it as like the class photo. But Black veterans building a life for themselves and their family using their GI Bill benefits, and then racial discrimination in housing and education. It's the Weeds theme song. Actually, I think I do know that song. I think I lied. Yeah, I think I do know that song. So one of these suburbs that was built was Levittown. Levittown was a all-white community. So this says veterans mostly white. It was all white. Some Black veterans were able to purchase houses, but not in Levittown. So Levittown was the first mass-produced housing development. So you can see all the houses are the fucking same. This is the first time this has happened. You can see how it's laid out. Very much cars. Like, if this person lives here and this person lives right there, instead of just being able to walk across, you have to get in your car, go down this road all the way down, and then back into here. That's like a 10-minute drive. That is fucking crazy. Grid cities, walkable sidewalks. It's not hard. We know what to do. This is some Twilight Zone ass shit. Yeah, so you could purchase a house, if you were a white veteran with the GI Bill, you could purchase a house for less than the cost of renting an apartment. So this is when a lot of people had like home ownership for the first time. This is Levittown in 1957. You can see one of 4 different styles. So, like, you can see you have, like, 4 to pick from. Like, it's like, here's are the 4 fucking houses. What do we want? Walkable cities. When do we want it? Now. I have nightmares about Levittown. I live in a grid city, and while walking sucks, I can walk wherever I need to. Kind of awesome. I thought my life would suck when I lost my car. Part of the city that I live in is walkable, not really the area that I live in, but where I work, it's really walkable, and I love it because I walk to Trader Joe's, I walk to get lunch. There's a lot of shopping there, so a lot of times if I'm going to make plans with my friends, I make them for after work so that I can just walk to them and, like, go out to eat with them. Like, it's really, living in a walkable community, or just, like, being in a walkable community is such a game changer. Not to sound like a Levittown stan, but the upper right one slays. Oh my god. I like this one better. I like the roof. Actually, no, the bottom left is my favorite. I like that one. I moved from rural Alabama to southeast Michigan, and seeing all the sidewalks and people walking here blows my mind because Alabama has no sidewalks. Yes, like, walking in rural areas of the South. I grew up in the suburbs of Atlanta, and then I used to live in very rural Georgia, and, like, when you see someone walking on the side of the road, it just looks fucking miserable. It's so dangerous. It's not safe. There's no sidewalks. There's no protection. There's no shade. So it's hot as fuck. Like, see, I always feel so bad when I see people walking, and I always want to stop and pick them up. And then I'm like, no, that's how you get murdered. So I never do. But that's Levittown. So veterans who grew up in the Great Depression buying a nice-ass house with their GI Bill. Because think about that. If you were born, like, during that time and you grew up poor as fuck in the Great Depression, and then as, like, an 18-year-old, you went to go fight in World War II, and then you come back, marry your high school sweetheart, and buy this big-ass fucking house, I would feel cool. I'd be like, this is dope as fuck. This is the one. I think this is a good meme. I think you're right. I think this should be the class photo. It's a little bit contradictory. Everyone, my baby burgers have finally arrived. Oh, I'm jealous. I think I am going to get a sandwich tonight. I think I am going to go to the sandwich place and get a sandwich tonight. Because it's also pretty healthy. I get veggies on there and it's very fresh. Brain scrambled for house. Biggest dream is owning a house. I think this should be our class photo. I'm doing it. This is the class photo. So be funny in the chat if you want to make the class photo. Smile. The PTSD is worth it for the house. Okay, that's it. Very cute and gorgeous. I love it. I love it. I love this. Okay, great. But yeah, so let's talk more about the discrimination part of it, because even though this GIF has Snoop Dogg, who is black, most of the black veterans were discriminated against in buying a house. Some of them were able to buy a house, but there was a lot of discrimination. Actually, let me shut the fuck up and just get into the actual slide. So, even though the GI Bill helped white Americans prosper and accumulate wealth in the post-war years, it did not deliver on that promise for veterans of color. The wide disparity in implementation helped drive growing gaps in wealth, education, and civil rights between white and black Americans. So I also think this really fueled the civil rights movement, because they were like, we just fought in this war and fucking won, and now this is how we get treated when we come back. This is absolute fucking bullshit, which is valid. Like, I would feel that way. So while the GI Bill's language did not exclude African Americans, this is the important part, is like, to learn how to avoid situations like this, you have to look at the way the implementation was done. So it's really easy for the government to be like, oh, it wasn't racist, it didn't say anything, because the GI Bill did not say that it only applied to white veterans. It said all the veterans got the GI Bill, which was true. But the way it was structured is that on the individual state level, there was no prevention of housing discrimination and education discrimination. So when black veterans tried to use their GI Bill, they would try to buy a house in Levittown. Levittown was like, you can't buy a house here because of the way you look. So it's like, the benefit, it's like having money you can't spend. Like, it's being in a country where you have the wrong currency. It's like, it's just not helpful to you. Like, even though you have it, Disparate impact vibes. It's states' rights again, literally. Like, even though you have the money, you can't spend it. That's the way it was going down. So Eugene Burnett was a black veteran who spoke with a salesman about buying a house in Levittown, and had the door slammed in his face because they said the suburb was not open to black residents. So that's why I'm saying there's a couple cases of black veterans being able to buy houses in different areas where they didn't experience this discrimination. I mean, I'm sure they experienced discrimination, but not in this particular arena. So there's some cases of black veterans being able to purchase a home, but very uncommon for them to be able to do that at this time with the GI Bill. So why did this happen? It was mainly a fear of black advancement. So when lawmakers began drafting the GI Bill in 1944, because like the war was about to end, so they were like, okay, how are we going to take care of the veterans? It's a lot of people. Southern Democrats feared that the black veterans would use public sympathy to advocate against Jim Crow laws. So they were like, ooh, we love segregation. Can't have these veterans coming back fighting against segregation. Talking about property law and learning about this for the first time was wild. Yeah, it's really insane. So to make sure that the GI Bill only benefited white people, really, the Southern Democrats drew on tactics that they had previously used with the New Deal. Because if you were attending my Great Depression lesson, you would know that pretty much everyone that got hired in the New Deal was white, and there was a lot of discrimination. They kind of did it in a similar way. So during the drafting of the law, the chair of the House Veterans Committee, Mississippi John Rankin, played hardball and insisted that the program be administered by individual states instead of the government. So this is what I mean about implementation. It's really important in history to look at implementation because this one line impacted and changed the entire course of America. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy. You have to help us, but we aren't going to help you, the U.S. government, to minorities. There it is. There it fucking is. So from the start, black veterans had trouble securing the GI Bill benefits. Some of them couldn't access the benefits because they were dishonorably discharged, and they were dishonorably discharged at much higher rates than their white counterparts. And like, you know, people were getting into shit. Like, you don't drop a bunch of 18-year-old dudes off in a country with guns and think that nothing unethical is going to happen, do you? You crazy if that's what you thought was going to happen. The obsession with the states handling things is ridiculous. When will the government learn? So this might be kind of a hot take, but I don't think anyone actually cares about states' rights. I don't think anyone that says, oh, but the state has the right to do it, I don't think they care about that. I think they use it as a cop-out to be racist. I think it's been happening since, like, the dawn of the United States, and it's really started with the Civil War. Like, states' rights, every time you look at states' rights, it either ties back to misogyny, racism, some form of discrimination. Like, it's states' rights is just a scapegoat for discriminatory laws, because whenever the federal government makes discriminatory laws, they never have a fucking problem with it. It's never a problem. And I'm pretty, like, I don't know, I don't really identify with, like, any one particular part of the political spectrum. I have, like, kind of mixed views on different things. I'm very against the government meddling in people's lives. I'm not in favor of having, like, a lot of rules and regulations. I think a lot of communities should decide things for themselves. Like, I think communities should decide what their kids learn and things like that, like with education. I don't think the federal government should control everything. So, like, it's not that I'm like, oh, I want a super powerful federal government. Like, that's not it. It's just that, like, I'm looking at the fucking pattern that every time y'all bring up states' rights, it's about this. Every time. The state's right to what? Exactly. That's what I would always teach my students. When I taught the Civil War, I would say, the Civil War was fought over these things, and I would list them out. It was like sectionalism, slavery, the states, like all that. And I would always say, when anyone says states' rights to what? Because every single reason we're talking about goes back to slavery. Like sectionalism, lifestyles being extremely different, no connection. Because one part of the country had slavery and one didn't. States' rights to do what? Difference in economy, because one economy had slavery. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not... They all go back to the same thing. I'm getting off topic. But anyway, veterans who did qualify could not find facilities that delivered on the bill's promise. Black veterans in vocational training programs at segregated high schools in Indianapolis were unable to participate in activities related to plumbing and electricity and printing because the adequate equipment was only available to white students. So simple intimidation kept others from enjoying the GI Bill benefits. In 1947, a crowd hurled rocks at black veterans as they moved into Chicago housing development. So that's what I'm saying. There were some veterans who were able to purchase housing with their GI Bill, but a lot of them really faced a ton of discrimination once they got into their housing. Ugh, Apples, your comment. God, I am so glad I don't have to talk to old white dudes about the Civil War. I used to, like, when I was a first-year teacher, I was really bad at things. Like, I didn't know how to do anything. So they sent me to this class where I had to skip school once a month and go to this class in, like, another part of the county for teachers that were, like, bad at being teachers. Like, literally, that's what it was for. Like, you got sent there. And it was, like, me, a couple other first-year teachers that really just got thrown into it, and then it was a bunch of, like, old white male history coaches that also taught U.S. history and were just really bad at it. And I hated having to lesson plan with them so much. I hated it with every fiber of my being. If you have never had to plan a World War II lesson with a 50-year-old white dude, I don't want to hear your opinion on public schools in the United States. Like, I literally have no interest in hearing your opinion. Because, like, something changed in me that day. If you're watching this, I hope you never use that lesson you planned. And I know you put a movie on. Like, that's my only hope, is I'm like, hopefully you're not indoctrinating the kids to racism because you're too lazy to be trying hard enough for it to work. You know what I mean? Like, very much states' rights energy. Like, they'd be like, oh, the states' rights about federal overreach. I had a teacher say they'd rather have 100,000 innocent Japanese citizens die than 100 American soldiers. Who asked? Like, why? Very weird that you came up with that. Very weird that your brain created that thought. Like, if someone asked, it'd be one thing to have, like, an answer. That wouldn't be a good one, but, like... Why'd you just say that? Why were you just like, oh, this is a good thing for me to say right now? Like, that. Very weird. Very weird. That gives me the same energy as, like, you know when people say, like, every accusation is actually a confession? Like, that is the same energy as that. It's like, why'd you fucking say that, dude? Like, that was weird to say. So, for example, we talked about discrimination, the crowd hurling rocks at these black veterans. And thousands of black veterans were attacked in the years following World War II, and some were even singled out and lynched. So very much still extremely racist vibes in the United States. I mean, it's the 1940s. I don't think any of us are really that surprised about that. Ethnocentrism at work. Yeah, for real. During this time, the economy was booming, though. Most veterans had no trouble finding jobs. According to Herman, oh, this was from an interview. I meant to take that part out. U.S. factories had proven so essential in the war effort, they quickly mobilized to peacetime, rising to meet the needs of consumers who had been encouraged to save up their money in preparation for a post-war boom. So, by the summer of 1945, Americans had been living under wartime rationing for more than 3 years. I knew a student who used, oh no, I don't think I can read the rest of that without getting taken down, but that's very concerning. Okay, so by the summer of 1945, Americans had been living in war rations for 3 years. I also just want to say, can you imagine if the government tried to ration our sugar and gas and meat? That would trigger the revolution. That would trigger, like, people in the streets, the revolution, if the government tried to ration our fucking food. Oh my god. You all, the chat right now is cursed. Ah. Oh my god. He got booted, but where is he now? He needs to be in jail, I think. Okay, so 1945, they've been living with these rations in place on, like, fucking everything good. Coffee, butter, gas, sugar, rubber, everything. So the U.S. government had been encouraging people to save their money. They were also doing this with war bonds. A bond is basically when you loan daddy government money. Daddy government will be like, hey, bitch, can I have $20? And you're like, okay, here's $20. And then they're like, thanks. In 5 years, I'll give you $21. That's not accurate numbers, but just to give you an example. So a lot of people had been buying war bonds in the war, partially because it was like the patriotic thing to do and because the government was like going to pay you to do it, essentially. Booted from living on campus, not from the college. Of course. Of course. Oh my god. This chat is very cursed right now. This is terrible. Jesus Christ. But anyway, in the In 1945, Americans were saving an average of 21% of their disposable income compared to just 3% in the 1920s. This is part of why the Great Depression was so fucking bad. But yeah, Americans were saving their money. So when the war was over, there was really high demand. Kind of how like we've had this like post-COVID demand, like a lot of people are shopping and getting better furniture and people are traveling now, like similar vibes. Bad times are over. Let's spend all our money is really the energy. Now the government is like, hey bitch, can I have $20? I'll give you your rights back. And then they won't. Yeah, I will not be giving the government $20. Y'all have enough with my taxes that go to nothing useful. My taxes go to taking my rights away. What happened to no taxation without representation? I'm not feeling very represented in this oligarchy right now. Boston Tea Party 2.0. We should have a Boston Tea Party 2.0, but instead, we just bring gallons and gallons and gallons of like Red Bull or Monster or something like that, and then just dump it into the streets of DC, like into our lawmakers' houses and offices. If the feds are watching, that was a joke. I'm joking. Joking. This is satire and joking. Everything I do is a joke. Your taxes go to the military-industrial complex. I hope my FBI agent is enjoying his shift. I wonder if they watch. If you guys are watching right now, say something in the chat. Drama Queen, thank you for subscribing. I might have already said that, but I just saw it up here. You would have, like, ration cards, and you'd hand it to the store clerk, and they'd give you the stuff. I don't know if that's right. Oh, did someone ask how the rations work? Yeah, that's how it worked. So you got a ration card from the government, and it had little, like, punchies on it, depending on where you lived. Some of them had check marks, which kind of depended. And then when you were at the grocery store, you'd be like, hey, I want some milk. And they'd be like, let me see your ration card. And you'd be like, and then they would tell you, like, how much milk you had left and punch it out so you couldn't go do it at another place. There was fraud with this. Some people got around it. There was black markets. Of course, humans are going to human. I don't think that's avoidable. I don't even think that's specific to the United States. Your FBI agent subscribe, smile, and wave, boys. That'd be kind of a dick move if my FBI agent didn't subscribe. LMAO, I'd be so tight if I had to do that for some milk. They could never do this today, ever. So if y'all watch the American Girl doll movie that has Molly Ringwald in it, where she's the mom, I think it's an American Girl doll movie. I don't remember, actually. But there's this movie about this little girl who's, like, in World War II times, and Molly Ringwald is her mom, and the girl, like, doesn't want to eat her potatoes or something like that, and she was like, they're not good, and her mom was like, how about I put some butter in them? And she was like, but we have to ration the butter, and the mom was like, it's okay, you can have a little bit, and it was, like, Molly on the home front, yes! And she was like, wait, really? This the one about the doll Molly. It's a good movie! It's a good movie. I want to watch it. I wish we could have a watch party on stream, but that would, like, violate copyright of everything. I wish I could do one where it was like, no one pay for this one. It's free on YouTube. I might watch that. My boyfriend's going to murder me. I'm going to get there and I'm going to be like, hey, I picked a movie. Because he gets mad because I never want to pick a movie. I'm like, you pick the movie. I'm not picking. So I'm going to be like, it was Molly and it was turnips. Thank you. I'm gonna be like, I picked a movie and it's gonna be Molly on the home. I'm gonna put that on Twitter right now. That's a good tweet. This is how this works. Y'all are seeing live action right now. Molly on the home front. It was turnips. Yeah, turnips are fucking gross. I would need butter too. I picked a movie. It's a World War II movie even. I'm already the one that cares about World War II movies. He likes them because they're action, but whenever I pick ones that are, like, not action, he's like, what the fuck is this? Oh my god. This movie cover. I'm fucking dead. I'm dead. Molly is my yearly movie watch. I haven't seen it. I've seen it one time, I think. I've seen it literally uno times. Oh, shit. My head is so itchy. Girl, you're on Twitter. What is it? A Walmart parking. I love Twitter. I love Twitter. I've been on Twitter since I was, like, 13. I deleted my account, though, because I had tweeted some things that, like, you know better, you do better. Not anything like that. I just meant, like, a lot of personal information, so I deleted that account. But, yeah. A Walmart it's just a Walmart parking. They didn't have room for the lot. I'm tweeting. Sorry. Y'all inspired this tweet. This is what it says. It says, saying, "Hey babe, I picked a movie for us. It's an action movie about World War II to my boyfriend," and then putting on this. And it's then the picture. My Twitter got removed because Twitter decided that I was 12 years old, but I already had the account for 10 years. But anyways, it's American Girl Lover 94 on YouTube. I'm so glad that you know that. I'm literally so thrilled that you know that. Oh my god, we're only on slide 21 and we've been here for an hour and 15 minutes. You can tell I like this topic. Oh my god, I'm 50. We need to focus. Okay. Oh my god, so many of you just followed me. Hi. Chat is broken. So we're fixing the chat and then we're focusing. Is the plan of what is happening right now. Fixing the chat, we're focusing. You guys, I have an easy day at work tomorrow. Thank God. Today was easy too. I had a good day today. And now we're focusing. And now we're focusing. And now we're focusing. Okay, so people had been rationing. We also had a lot of technology. So it was also like we had more shit available to buy. So new technology, one is penicillin. Thanks to penicillin, he will go home. We love penicillin. If someone understands medical things, please explain what penicillin is and how it works. I don't know what it is. I know it's super important. I know if you like get some gross stuff in your body, they give you penicillin and it like kills it, and that's why you live. Isn't it an antibiotic? Yeah, I think it's the first antibiotic. So like, it's a mold. Ew. But anyway, that's why we like live now. Like that's why if you get cut, you'll live. You know what I mean? It's the OG antibiotic. So we had much better medicine, food processing, car developments, all that stuff. It's the mold that kills the bad vibe bacteria. It's from a fungus. The fungus makes an antibiotic to protect itself. Oh, very cool, cute, and gorgeous. I love science. Okay, so one, we have all this better technology. The one thing about war is that it pushes technology forward a lot because the government becomes very invested in pushing technology forward. So here is some other shit that is not because of the war, but because the war gave us better manufacturing and all these things. We had some new stuff. So this is a washing machine. This is a TV. Look how fun this TV is. I would like use this as art in my house. Like I would like turn it, I like put legs on it and turn it into a coffee table or like an end table. Like an end table. Yeah, that's what I mean. Why is the washing machine cute? This is a vacuum. So like a lot of the new products were household products. So like in the 1920s, we came out with a bunch of new household products. And then in the 1950s, we did it again. This is a shaver for women that I am fucking terrified of. How... I would not put this anywhere I cared about. Anywhere sensitive. That is terrifying. I don't know what this is. This is a sun lamp with a carrying case. I think, I don't really know. Is it like a tanning bed you carry around? I don't know. Here's another TV that is very boxy. And here's a food processor. So this is just some shit that people were buying just so you can kind of get the vibe checks. Did they shave the vag back then? Nah. Well, I'm sure some people did, but that was, like, not the norm. You know what I mean? That shaver looks like it would rip your hair out. Exactly. I wouldn't want to use that even on, like, my underarms. Oh, my God. I'm getting laser hair removal on my underarms, and I'm kind of fucking with it. They're doing a good job. My grandma had one like that, and she loved it. Yeah, I just could never do that. Props to your grandma. She's a stronger woman than me. So, side note, I listened to an interview with a parent of a boomer. Like it was like the greatest generation. It was an interview with them. It was from like the 70s when they were like super old. And they mentioned how the boomer generation was so spoiled. They were like, I think we were too like, we spoiled them. We gave them so much stuff. Like so many of us grew up with nothing that we just gave them everything. And they turned into a very, very entitled generation. So I just think that's interesting. And I think that maybe that is why boomers act the way that they do. Boomers are what boomers think millennial and Gen Z are. Remember how I said every accusation is a confession? When boomers are like, oh, these generations are so spoiled and entitled, they just want everything to go their way. They're projecting. They are projecting. Shouldn't have given them those participation trophies. And here we are living with it. Make it make sense. They're projecting. They're literally just projecting onto us. So yeah, I think that because like they grew up without the hardships of their parents, like if you think about it, Boomers go to therapy challenge. So yeah, that's a side note about their psychology. Also, advertising at this time was fucking crazy. Advertising at this time was absolutely wild. Oh, here, I can make these a little bit bigger. There we go. Advertising was wild. So one, this is for paint. You couldn't have picked fucking anything else. For a better start in life, start cola earlier. How soon is too soon? Not soon enough. What? 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 The first one, hello? Literally. I'm telling you, all of those Mad Men fucking corporate white dudes were drunk at work making shit like this. Isn't this when cola had Coke in it? No, I think this was after that. Put the cola in the baby bottle. I had to do a project on advertisements during this time and they were whack. They had ads for Plan B pills. They were called women pills in the newspaper. Why is he speaking here? This chat is going crazy right now. I knew y'all were going to go fucking wild over this. Here, Timmy, here's some Coke. So then this one, it says, so the harder a wife works, the cuter she looks. And then this one where he's spanking her, this is an ad for coffee. And it says, if your husband ever finds out you're not store testing the coffee, because they used to let you, like, they would make the coffee at the store and shit like that. I mean, Coke does slap. I'm drinking some right now. It's an ad for coffee. Miss Redacted, you baited us with these outrageous acts and it worked. How did I bait you? Coffee. How? Why? Literally, I have so many questions. So, now, I want you to find a batshit crazy ad from the 1950s. You can Google it on here, like, 1950s advertising, and you can find some stuff. So just look for some shit, see what's crazy, feel free to add anything here, and we can discuss how fucking wild this is. Because this is what happens when you let white dudes take 5-hour lunches and be drunk at work the whole time. That's what happens. I don't know why we expected anything different. Drop the link again, of course. Of course, of course. Of course. Oh my god, I forgot to talk about one thing. We're gonna go backwards in a second. Sorry. Oh my god, this one's for 7-Up. We have the youngest customers in the business. Nothing does it like 7-Up. Is there a timer? No, there's no timer. Literally, more doctors smoke Camels than any other cigarettes. Literally, what the fuck is this one? What the fuck? I have so many questions, and the longer I look, I have more questions. When I was a political corporate girly, I was allowed to drink at lunch. Oh my god. I don't know if I should talk about this. Actually, I don't care. So I had to go to this open house for work because sometimes they just, like, want people there just to, like, make it look busy or whatever. So sometimes I get to go. Like, if I don't have a meeting, sometimes I'll just be like, hey, can I go? And then my boss is like, whatever, have fun. And I love it because I get to look at all these fancy houses. But anyway, they have champagne at them a lot. And I don't know, there must have been some nice champagne because I only had one glass. And I came back to the office and I was like, help. Thankfully, I didn't drive there. My coworker drove, and I was in the back of his car, like, I think it's because I was in the sun. Like, they had a big outside area that I was at, and I hadn't had any food. So my body was like, no. Nope, nope, no. Oh my god, y'all are so good at this. Don't worry, darling, you didn't burn the beer. Danger, don't spread disease by finger licking. Okay, that's a valid point, though. What pretty feet? No free feet. Not even for Goodyear Tire. Oh, I've seen this one. My students would always find this one. It's nice to have a girl around the house. I hate it here. I literally hate it here. The best things in life come in cellophane. You are going to suffocate that baby. This is an image of a baby being suffocated. And you call yourselves pro-life. The judges used to drink a shit ton at lunch, then go back on the bench. That explains a lot about the United States. Good. Perfect. Just 1 minute, young lady. Oh my god, do you still beat your wife? Oh my god. This is me as a mother. The smooth taste expectant mothers crave. Oh my god, this is insane. Okay. So we're going to go backwards a little bit because I forgot to talk about redlining and when we were talking about the housing discrimination. So I want to go back. I knew I was forgetting something. I was like, wait, something else we needed to talk about. So this is what we were talking about with the housing discrimination. I want to explain what redlining is. So this is an NPR article that shows a little bit, but you can see this is a map of New York, and you can see how some areas are in red. This is like considered hazardous. So what they would do is they would make a map of the city, and any areas of the city where it was predominantly people of color, they'd be like, this is a hazardous area, and redline it. You see why it's called redlining? It's literally a red line on the map. And then they would not write mortgages to any addresses in that city. So then Black veterans were not able to buy homes within Black communities. And then when they tried to buy homes in white communities, they were shunned because of segregation. So that's what redlining is. It kind of started like after the Great Depression and really vamped up after World War II. So this is a redlined map of New Orleans. You can see this is an old map. You can see the red areas, and then I think yellow is commercial, and then like blue and green is where they will write mortgages, and those are predominantly white areas. The Orange Island, happy to catch a stream. Thanks for being here. If anyone else needs the Nearpod, I'll just drop it again just in case. Okay, let me find, this had other redlining maps on it. No, it didn't. There's another one I wanted to show you. Hold on, I'll find it. New window. Redlining maps. Okay, I'm just going to show you like Google Images. It really blows my mind that we're on a floating rock and this is what we're worried about. Yeah, so redlining is the map system, and then in the red areas, like I said, they won't do any home loans. So that's New Orleans. We already looked at that. This is Richmond. I think this is, where is this? Load, please. That's somewhere. I don't know why it won't load. Here's another New York one. I think that's Chicago. Oh, here it goes. This is Brooklyn. Yeah, so you can see all the red areas. The links that people go to. No, for fucking real. Oh, we already looked at Richmond. Here is South Florida. This is Miami. It's like pretty much every city that you can imagine. It's there. Here's Seattle. Like, it's every American city. Like, it's people like, oh, just the South. No, it's every American city. I'm sure there's exceptions, but see, there's another Richmond one. But yeah, so that's what I forgot to show you was the maps of the redlining. So going back to the batshit crazy advertising, let's see if anyone else added anything. Is redlining similar to Sundown Towns? So similar because they're both racist, but let me explain the difference. So a sundown town is an all-white town where, like, basically if any person of color is there after sundown, they are going to face violence against them. Redlining is more of like a real estate legal term, because redlining is the like predominantly Black parts of town are what you see in red. So it's like you can't buy a house in the red line area where you're like safe because you're with, not 100% safe, we're never safe, but you can't buy a house in the community you live in with other people of color because it's redlined. And then you can't buy a house in another town because that's a sundown town and they're not going to let you buy a house there. Does that make sense? Sundown towns are kind of basically a result of redlining. There are definitely sundown towns still. Yes, there are sundown towns. I have been to them. They exist. Sundown towns are very real. No matter what anyone says, they are real. Redlining is racism in policy. Sundown towns are racist in culture. Yeah, I would say. That's like a pretty simple version of it. But yeah, very much so. That's correct. Let's look at some more ads if there are any. This is iconic. I don't even think that's a problem. I would buy that today. Successful marriage starts in the kitchen. I hate it here. I hate it here. You'll be happier with a Hoover. I can guarantee that I won't. Okay, so let's get into the car culture of the 1950s. So the American automobile culture had a huge influence on the music, the culture, the hot rodness, whatever. The American manufacturing after war items, when it switched to consumer goods, a lot of the consumer goods being created were cars. Because think about, if I have a factory and I've been making tanks, I can be like, I'll make cars. So by the end of the 1950s, 1 in 6 Americans was working in the automotive industry. So that could be you build cars, you work at a gas station, you repair cars, you work on highway maintenance, like automobile related industries. It's a lot, but That's still a lot of fucking people. Like, my grandma grew up in Michigan. She's actually my step-grandma, but her family and, like, everyone she grew up with, everyone's dad worked at a car factory. Everyone. That's what it was. You worked at the car factory. That's what it was. Also needed so many cars because suburbs. Exactly. Remember how we were saying none of those areas were walkable? Cars. Cars, 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 cars. The decade began, and we're going to talk about why the suburbs grew as well. My grandpa worked at GM in Michigan. Maybe your grandpa worked with people in my family. So the decade began with 25 million people registered with automobiles on the road. And by 1958, there were more than 67 million cars registered in the United States. So it more than doubled the number of cars that were on the road. So here's some pictures of cars from the time. World War II is responsible for Cars cinematic universe. Stop. I cannot handle that right now. I should also watch Cars. Should I call my boyfriend and be like, babe, do you want to watch Cars? Do you want to watch Cars tonight? I can tell I'm not going to be sleepy tonight. I can just feel it. I feel it. Here's the first highway. Can you imagine facing this little traffic? Living as a license-free girly in protest. You should definitely watch Cars. Cars is funny. I've been trying to get my boyfriend to watch Shrek, and I don't think he's seen it. He's saying he's seen it, but I don't think he's seen it. Because he's like, that's a kid's movie. Why would we watch that? And I'm like, it is a fucking hilarious. It is a good movie. The domino meme, but with World War II and Cars. He says he's seen it, but like, how have you seen it and you don't want to watch it? You know what I'm saying? So I don't believe that he's seen it. I think he thinks he's seen it because it's such a classic. That's what I think. So here's the highway with no traffic. This is a mall parking lot. Oh, no, it's not. What is this? I don't know what the fuck this is. This is a parking lot. But look at the cars. I think we should bring this back. They're kind of cute. Making guys watch High School Musical as Netflix and chill is my signature move. I love everything about that. We were on Route 66 in Arizona last month, and it was more like the beginning of Cars than the end. Quiz him on the iconic quotes. He's not going to know them. And then here's a McDonald's. I fucking love McDonald's. What I would not give to go to this 15-cent McDonald's right now. I love McDonald's. I was going to get it for dinner, but I had pizza for lunch, so I feel like my stomach's going to be up if I eat McDonald's and pizza in the same day. So now I want to talk about the dream that never was. We had electric cars in the 1950s. I'm going to repeat that. We had electric cars in the 1950s. And then they were like, no. I'm sorry. I hate this timeline. I knew y'all were going to be so mad at this. I knew y'all were going to be fucking livid about the electric car thing. That's why I included it, even though it's like really niche. So there were a couple different electric vehicles. Electric vehicles first appeared in the 1890s. The 1890s. Now Elon Musk acting like it's a new thing. Imagine if they had the technology to make cell phones in the 50s. The 1890s, we had electric cars. I really want to reiterate. The 1890s. Not the 1990s. The 1890s. Stupid oil and gas industry. Elon didn't even come up with Tesla. 1890s really popped off. Bro, when you look at the number of patents that were filed in the 1890s, 1890s popped off. Electric must have been much easier than drilling for oil and gas-powered cars. What the fuck? So they started making these. An electric vehicle held the vehicular land speed record until 1900. In the 20th century, the high cost, low top speed, and short range of electric battery compared to other engines led to a decline in their use. So basically, because like they were expensive and the batteries didn't last super long, they just kind of started using gas cars, but like you could have just improved the battery, in my opinion. During the 1950s, Natural Electric Company, here's an example, Henny Kilowatt. This car could travel 50 miles on a charge and had a top speed of 60 miles an hour. So you can see like the gas cars could go much longer, which is why people liked them. They didn't have the battery technology, but it's like frustrating to me because I feel like they could have just invested in battery technology instead of investing into the oil and gas industry.
and it's just really annoying. Here's a picture of the car. I think it's kind of cute. It reminds me of a smart car. I'm a little annoyed that our government didn't do this. Like, I get it. At the time, we did not have the information we have today about climate change and all of that stuff. But it would have been way cooler if instead of investing into the oil and gas industry, they invested into the electricity industry and figured out, like, more renewable energy. It just makes me really sad that didn't happen. We need to bring this car back. They built the atomic bomb but couldn't figure out batteries. Exactly. That's what I mean. Like, they just didn't make it a priority, and they could have. I think the other car was just, like, an easier choice. Like, it was, like, the lazy route, you know? But now everyone's acting like it's an impossible situation. Henny Kilowatt is the cutest name. It is a cute name. Me finding out capitalism is to blame yet again. Okay, let me get y'all's opinion on this meme. They put Zoe 101 on Netflix. Sorry, my TV is on. Like, it's not on, but, like, the little Netflix thing is playing. So, my boyfriend said it wasn't obvious that, like, his face is, like, fake. Like, it wasn't obvious that his face was, like, sarcastic. You know what I'm saying? I think it's obvious. I reposted this one of my close friends. Oh my god, slay. That's the one my boyfriend saw. He didn't see the one with the GIF. He saw the one on Instagram I sent him, like, the Frozen one. He doesn't look genuinely shocked. Def watching Zoe 101 tonight now. It's obvious to me. As an autistic, it's obvious. I think the hand motion makes it look fake. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Because he was looking at, like, let me show you the meme that I sent him where he said it, like, the pic didn't make it obvious. He said that the yet again made it obvious, but that the pic wasn't obvious. This is the one that he saw. It's less obvious. You feel me? It goes on a little too long, I think. Originally, I thought yes, sarcastic, but then rethought. Okay, good feedback. This is good feedback to know. So, part of the reason that cars popped off so much is because halfway through the 1950s, our government made the interstate system. The movement makes it seem obvious. I think so, too. Okay, so the Federal Highway Act of 1956 led to the construction of the interstate highway system. I-95 is an example of this. I-95 goes up the East Coast. If you live on the East Coast, you've probably heard of I-95 and driven it if you have gone down to Florida. That's why I picked that one. So you can see it goes through Florida. Here's all the highways. Our government decided to do this. They could have invested in trains. They could have invested into public transport. They could have invested into creating walkable communities. But after the rise of the suburbs, chat is broken again. Thank you. After the rise of the suburbs and the growth of the auto industry and all of the white flight, all the white people moving to the suburbs, the government decided that the interstate highway system was the priority. You can tell that I wasn't in charge. This is another good meme. I-75 girlies rise up. Trains were right there. Literally, trains were right there. Creating a car and oil-dependent economy versus renewable energy, walkable communities, and public transport. I hate it here so much. Like after World War II in Europe, they were like, I-10 being 2 lanes is so painful. God, don't get me started on I-10. I-90 girlies, it's our time to shine. The way we already had trains in the U.S. decided to complicate things. But yeah. It makes me angry. After World War II in Europe, the Europeans, like, were a lot more into the train vibes and the walkable vibes than we were when they were, like, rebuilding everything. I really just wanted to put this picture of Dwight D. Eisenhower in here. He was president when we did the interstate system. He signed the legislation that funded it, but I really just wanted to include this picture. There was no reason for me to create this slide other than to include this photograph. I hate praising Europe, though, man. Yeah. I'm praising Europe on their city planning. Like, from the grid perspective, not other things. What year did y'all hear about the Amtrak wreck? Yes, I didn't hear a ton, but I saw a little bit on the news about it. That's what Eisenhower looked like, OMG. He's giving very much fruity vibes. Yeah, very much fruity vibes. So this is a look. But, like, I saw someone tweeted this picture, and it was like, not me sending your son to Vietnam. And I was like, that's too soon. That is too soon. I think the resulting highways and suburbs in the U.S. comparison to other countries is because the U.S. is so big and they wanted to make things easier. I agree. America is like, we aren't going to be like other girls, but then wasn't a great idea. Yeah, America's definitely a pick-me country. Dwight D. Eisenhower. I don't think most Europeans realize how freakishly huge the U.S. is. Oh my God. So I had a friend who worked at Disney World. She was like, she worked in one of the really nice resorts in Disney World. And she said these rich Europeans would come to Disney World with their small children. And they would be like, oh, we want to go to New York for the afternoon. And she would be like, no, New York is not somewhere you go for the afternoon while you're at Disney World. And they'd be like, would it be, like, if we wanted to see the Grand Canyon, can we do that on this trip? And she was like, that is a 4-hour flight away. Like, girl, it takes an afternoon to get there. Yeah, they really have no idea. And I remember, so my parents had an au pairs when I was a kid. It's basically like, I don't really know how to explain it, but we had, like, our childcare lived with us, and they were, like, young girls from Europe that were on, like, visas, and they worked a couple days a week and then, like, traveled and stuff. So they were, like, 19, 20. It's, like, a program that they do and apply for, whatever. That was our childcare. We're really close to some of them still. Most of them still live in Europe. And one of them came to visit us with her kids. Like, she had little kids, and my mom invited her to come stay with us. She got her kids visas to travel and all that stuff. And then she came, and her husband was like, oh, we're going to drive to New York. And because she had lived in the U.S. before when I was a kid, she was like, I do not want to drive to New York. And he was like, no, it'll be good. I want to show the kids New York. And she was like, this is a terrible idea. And so they were at our house. They drove to New York. We're in New York, and drove back to our house in Georgia, and she was like, wasn't that a terrible idea? And he was like, yeah, that was a terrible idea. They did it, but it was a terrible idea. They also wanted more spread out cities so that less people would die in case of bombings. Oh, I didn't think about that. This is also like during the Cold War when we thought Russia was going to like nuke us at any moment, or the Soviet Union was going to nuke us at any moment, which they weren't. So they were like, we shouldn't have too many people in a concentrated area, so let's all spread out. Road trips with kids and road trips as a kid are bad vibes. Yeah, exactly. So the Federal Highway Act of 1956, it took several years of wrangling, but this act was passed. It authorized the construction of a 41,000-mile network of the interstate system and allocated $26 billion to pay for it. That's so much fucking money. Under the terms of the law, the federal government would pay 90% of the cost, and the money came from increased gasoline tax, now 3 cents a gallon instead of 2. So that's how they paid for it. My ex lives in Michigan, and it would have taken an entire 24 hours to drive from my house to his. Jesus Christ. The new interstate highways were controlled by access expressways with, oh, this is like, I don't care about that sentence. There were intended to serve several purposes. Eliminate traffic and replace what one highway advocate called undesirable slum areas with pristine ribbons of concrete to make coast-to-coast transportation more efficient and make it easy to get out of big cities in case of an atomic attack, like you mentioned. So they ripped through, when they say undesirable slum areas, they're talking about communities of color. Oh, it got racist again. It did. It did get racist again. So yeah. We're going to get to, like, more racism in a second, but before we get to the racism, I want to talk about, like, why they didn't invest in public transportation. So public transportation was, like, on the decline in the U.S. even before this, because there used to be 17,000 miles of streetcar lines running through every major American cities, even cities we don't think of today. Like Atlanta and Raleigh, North Carolina have terrible public transportation. Actually, I've never been to Raleigh, so I'm not going to speak on them. Atlanta has pretty bad public transportation. It used to have a whole streetcar system. So it used... I fucked up somewhere. So most Americans used to take public transit to work. Now it's just 5% of Americans. So the reason that this happened is because at the dawn of the automobile age, General Motors, like GM General Motors, started buying streetcar lines and shutting them down. So the auto industry, like, destroyed the public transit industry, because those streetcars probably just would have turned into, like, the modern streetcars, and like the train systems that we have today. So between 1938 and 1950, a bunch of companies gained control of transit systems in about 25 cities. So this is 6 years before the Interstate Act was passed. So like public transportation had been getting chipped away at by these companies for a while before the government was like, let's invest a ton of money into the interstate system. Most of these companies were convicted in 1949 of conspiracy to monopolize interstate commerce in the sale of buses and fuel, but were acquitted on conspiring to monopolize the transit industry. So they got in like a moderate amount of trouble because they tried to create this monopoly and the government checked them, like not fully checked them, but did check them a little bit. Today, I think our government would not check them at all. This is not a mistake. I did put the same meme twice, fully on purpose, because it's capitalism. Again. It always is. Every time. The judicial system has no teeth, man. What the fuck? This is my other choice for our class meme. What do we think of this as the meme? City planners in the 1950s, whenever anyone suggested creating a walkable community. All of my beef is with city planners in the 1950s. Joseph Robin Biden needs to bring back streetcars. For fucking real. Actually, I think this meme might have too many words on it. I think I liked the other one better. What was the other one we did again? I'm forgetting already. Oh, it was the elegance one. Yeah, I liked the other one better. Who's been messing up everything? It was capitalism all along. Literally. So immediate cons to the highway system. So now we'll talk about like racism and stuff like that. And how we fucked everyone over. Yeah, the Snoop Dogg one is better, I think. So when the Interstate Highway Act was passed, most Americans supported it. They were like, sounds fucking cool. But the unpleasant consequences started to show. Most unpleasant of all was the damage the roads were inflicting on city neighborhoods. They displaced tons of people from their homes, and it was usually communities of color that they just like ripped these communities apart, literally, to put the highways into them. So according to estimates from the U.S. Department of Transportation, more than 475,000 people, households, and more than 1 million people were displaced because of federal roadway construction. Hulking highways cut through neighborhoods, darkened and disrupted the pedestrian landscape, worsened air quality, and torpedoed property values. So even if you did not lose your house because of the construction, if you were 2 blocks away, now your property value went down a ton because no one wants to live right next to a highway now. Communities lost churches, green space, and tons of homes. They lost small businesses that provided jobs and kept money circulating locally. Crucial middle-class footholds in areas were already struggling from racist zoning policies, disinvestment, and white flight. So a lot of the communities of color in inner cities were already struggling because of redlining, like we talked about, and now this is making it even worse. Benefits of highway: go fast, in theory, not in practice. Cons of highway: everything, actually. Literally wouldn't expect anything less from the American government, always with the racism. Yeah, fucking, I hate our government so much. So somehow it gets worse. One of the most influential, I think I saw someone mention this dude earlier, Robert Moses. Oh my God, perfect timing. So one of the most influential World War II urban planners was Robin Moses. He oversaw all this bullshit in New York. Not only was he arguably the most powerful unelected official, his influence extended beyond New York. He was the leading proponent of the idea that the best way to eradicate slums where Black people lived was to build highways through them. So like that was not an unintended consequence. I think a lot of people like view this as like, oh no, like it wasn't on purpose. Like they view it like it was a surprise when it happened, when it was fully on purpose. So our categorical imperative action is to clear the slums. Moses said in a 1959 speech, "We can't let minorities dictate this century-old shore will be put off into another generation or finally abandoned," which is a terrible quote. Moses was the chairman of the New York City Slum Clearance Committee and said that highway construction must go right through cities and not around them. 2 of the city's main arteries he created, the Cross Bronx and Brooklyn Queens Expressway, did that, cutting through the heart of the Bronx and Red Hook neighborhoods. He put metal monkey bars in parks in Harlem because Black people lived there. God. They really said, instead of helping you get out of poverty, we'll just build a road right through your house. They said, you can go be in poverty somewhere else, just not right here. They're like, sorry for the miscommunication. Our problem was not with the poverty, it was with the location of it. Sorry, we kind of got our wires crossed there. Oh, like monkey statues. I thought you meant like monkey bars. I was kind of confused. One of my hometown's elementary schools was named after Robert Moses. Maybe they should rethink that. So I wanted to give two specific examples. So we're going to talk about Miami and Los Angeles. So in the first half of the 20th century, there's an area of Miami called Overtown, and it is called the Harlem of the South, because basically, like, when we think about like the 1920s, all of those like Harlem Renaissance performers, they would travel and they would come to Miami and they would perform in Overtown. So it's called Overtown because like Ella Baker and like all those famous jazz people, like, I don't know, like Duke Ellington, people like that. They would come to Miami, they would perform in Miami, and like in Miami, like Miami Beach, the white areas, and then they'd say, I'm going over to Colored Town to perform after. So they'd do their show for like all the rich white people, and then they would go over to Colored Town. So that's why it's called Overtown. So it was one of like this. Overtown is one of like the worst victims of the highway expansion. I did like a case study on this in college. That's why I know a lot about it. So only 8,000 of the estimated population remained. Like there was 40,000 and only 8,000 people stayed after the highway expansion. Blocked from moving into white neighborhoods, displaced residences were forced to crowd in nearby sections of the city that were already struggling with poverty. This is a longtime Overton resident, General White, said, there's nothing left but a big bypass now. Overtown was never the same, and thousands of people were forced to make room for the highway. So I included some pictures. This is what it looked like in the 1920s, I believe. You can see it's like a community. It's houses. They're kind of small, and a lot of them are really close together, but it's just like a normal community with houses. And then this is what it looks like today. So like you can see like this area was the community, like right here where this highway crosses. So like this is residential and like this is commercial, and then like, yeah, but this was where the community was. So like we went from like this to basically just like concrete in that area. So now let's talk about Los Angeles. Los Angeles, this is in the game as well. That's so sad. So many lives for concrete. Yeah, it really is sad. So let's talk about Los Angeles. The area in Los Angeles is called Sugar Hill. I don't have as much background knowledge on this, but the black population of West Adam Heights started. Environmental racism is so ugly. Yeah, it really is. The black population of West Adam Heights started taking off in the late 30s after the Depression, when many historic mansions were still up for sale. So upper class African Americans from LA began buying their homes here. So a lot of celebrities and movie stars and things like that started buying these mansions because they were for sale in the Great Depression. And they named it Sugar Hill as a tribute to Harlem, and it became an icon of Black Hollywood, like I said. And by the mid-1940s, 57 black families lived in Sugar Hill. The Santa Monica Freeway was constructed through the middle of Sugar Hill. This is a quote from The Color of Law that a couple people have mentioned. I studied West Adams in school. It's so upsetting. Where was I? In the United States as a whole, lots of communities that were black were destroyed because of highways. So this is from the Los Angeles Centennial. The road could have been built without cutting through so-called Sugar Hill. However, in order to miss Sugar Hill, it was said that the route would have to cut through a fraternity and sorority area around USC. That is University of Southern California. This was my number one choice for college. I wanted to go there so bad. I wanted to be an LA girly. I wanted to go to USC. I wanted to major in journalism. And then I was going to go save the world with my journalism. So glad I did not get in. So glad they did not get $70,000 a year out of my family. And it is jokingly called the University of Spoiled Children because it is so fucking expensive and there's like so much nepotism to get in there. Like, remember when Aunt Becky got her kid into school? It was that school. It was USC. There's a lot of that there. But anyway, so obviously the USC sorority and fraternity kids have to keep their row, obviously. So the city of Los Angeles destroyed an entire thriving black community. The USC, University of Southern California, they won this argument, which sucks. Obvi. So the success of the anti-highway movement, people did begin to fight back. There was the first victory. It was in San Francisco. USC sucks and I went there. USC hate club. She didn't even want to go. The fuck. So in San Francisco, which is very walkable, San Francisco has a lot of issues though. The Board of Supervisors stopped the construction of a double-decker freeway along the waterfront. That would have been fucking ugly. During the 1960s, activists in other cities managed to prevent road builders from eviscerating their neighborhoods. As a result, many of these activists called these roads to nowhere because they would just like end the project right there. Did people get paid to leave, or was it like, welp, you're homeless now? So usually what they would do is they would like, it depended. So if you owned your home, it was better. You had more rights, and they would like just offer you a lot of money for your house and try and get you to sell it. And sometimes the city would force you to leave. Like they'd give you the money, but you had to leave. Like they'd be like, we're taking this area over. Here's your money. Goodbye. But in cases like the Miami one in Overtown, a lot of those residents were renters as well. Like because of redlining, a lot of people didn't own their homes. So a lot of times they would just buy the property from the landlord, and then the landlord would be like, yeah, you can't rent here anymore. So it depends on the city and the person and like the situation, but there's a couple different ways. Eminent domain says they gotta pay you. Yeah, so they do have to pay you for the house, but if you're a renter, then it's your landlord's decision really as to what happens. So this is also a time of a lot of conformity. Prosperity led to a new emphasis on conformity. Most Americans worked for large corporations for the entire life. Like, you know, boomers who work the same job for 40 years, their parents, like very much that vibe, but even more so. With fixed expectations and little room for creativity and imagination and individuality. So it's like, you go to work for the company, you wear your uniform, you clock in every day, this is the job, no one cares about your opinion. Like, it was very much everyone did what they were told to do. And many Americans were living in identical homes, and many neighborhoods even had rules. So they would have like neighborhood covenants and shit about like decorating your lawn. Like, it was like very much everyone lived the same. Like, it was like, those are the rules, I listen to this person, you don't question things. Like, that was just the culture. So that kind of explained why boomers are the way they are. They grew up in an environment that like, you don't question things. There was also racism in land titling, so they may have owned the home but not had a legal title. That is also true. So that's why I think a lot of boomers are so like rigid and not open to change and don't question things, because like they were raised in a way where that was just like not what you did. Many Americans were also using the same stuff. So same cars, same clothes, eating the same food. This is when we started to see big corporations where it's like everyone shops at Macy's now. Like, you don't shop at the little boutique in your town that's owned by your friend. You shop at Macy's. Like, and everyone has all the same shit. HOAs are not the vibe. Yes, this is like the dawn of HOAs. And then many of these areas also enforced like racial, ethnic, and religious conformity. So it was like white Protestant Christians only in a lot of these areas. So you can see these are some people, these are people protesting outside this real estate office. And then this is a neighborhood that said, we want white tenants in our white community. So many of the neighborhoods also signed pledges refusing to sell their homes to people of color. So even if it was a neighborhood where like legally you could buy a house, if the HOA has everyone sign this pledge, like that's another layer of discrimination. Yeah, people are super fucking evil. So I think this is why boomers freak the fuck out when something is wrong. Like when there's a change or something is different, they freak the fuck out because they're used to this world that has so much rules and so much structure, and it's just like really, really intensely structured. So they just kind of can't handle it when stuff like doesn't go their way. All right, it's time for the game. This conformity BS still happens when people are big mad shelters or safe shites put anywhere near their good neighborhoods. Exactly. Okay, so we're going to play the game. I'm going to turn the music off for you. Let's do sports. Let's be in our sports era. If you want to join the game, here's the Nearpod. You pick a little character, and then there's like questions, and you run up a little mountain. It's kind of fun. Oh, you're picking your little people. I'll give you a couple seconds to pick your little people. My back hurts. every day of my life. Laurel, Lena, Drama Queen, Beatrice, Aim Lockett, Dusty Croissant, Shay, Katsnita, sorry if I butchered your name, Emily, Ryan, Catrion, Heather, Apples, Alex, already saw Shay, Cassie. I love this, what's it called? What is this animal? Giraffe. I love this giraffe. This is so cute. I'll give you guys a couple more seconds to join the game. I see there's 20 people on there. I'll give you a few more seconds to join. Going to be honest, bestie, notes are subpar. I've been on a call low-key. There's been a whole time, but I had my full attention. That's okay, Lena. We get what we pay for. I'll give you like a couple more seconds. Gabrielle Perez. I've been cooking because I'm not PDT. I'm going to assume that was a typo. Okay, I haven't seen anybody join in a second, so I'm going to hit start. Oh my god, it's really a sport vibe. It's a good song. Oh, Pacific Daylight Time. My dumbass. I live in East Coast time. I forget other times exist. I'm going to turn this down a little bit. What did we learn about today? A lot of these have more than one right answer. I love this one. This is the best music we've had. Like, even though I don't care about the sports, I like the music. Oh, you picked the wrong one. That sucks. I'm sorry. A lot of you were reading too fast. One of them said post-World War I. Tricked you! Why were people eager to spend their money in the 1950s? This music is a fucking bop. I would listen to this. I need to turn my TV off. You guys know that the Roku app is fucking gas? If you didn't know, the Roku app is a great app. If you have a Roku TV, it's amazing. If you lose your remote, app. No, I don't want to be connected to the living room. This music has me in the zone. This music is fucking amazing. I'm annoyed that we haven't done this one before. A lot of these have more than one right answer. I can't remember if I already said that. When was the baby boom at its highest point? This is a hard one. How did you get into what the fuck? How did you get into corporate? I studied psych and soc, but I want a desk job. So I'm in real estate, and a lot of people in real estate don't have like a degree. Like, a lot of people come from alternative fields and stuff. They really hired me because a lot of my job is like serving the agents. Agents have to pay to be a part of brokerages. They pay part of like money to that. So it's kind of like they're our customers in a way. So I help them with stuff. So I used to work at a fancy hotel for a long time. So they really liked how much customer service experience I had. I also trained people at that hotel. So the fact that I had trained people in giving customer service, they liked. And then I do a lot of technology stuff. So I help real estate agents use technology in their business. So if they're like, hey, I want to create little social media graphics, I want to send out a mass email, like, I teach them how to do that stuff. So they really liked that I had taught people how to use technology in teaching, because I would help other teachers at my school. And so on my resume, I said I was the teacher tech coordinator, when in reality, that was not a title. Everyone would just always ask me for help because I was really good at it and I liked doing it. So that's how I got my job, was kind of because I'd done those two things. So in 1945, Americans were saving an average what percent of their disposable income compared to just 3% in the 1920s? I told you this was a hard one. I feel like you need to have your first IRL meetup at a movie theater for the Barbie movie whenever it comes out. I'll think about it. Doing IRL meetups kind of scare me because, like, what if I get kidnapped? If I ever do an IRL meetup, just know that my boyfriend is going to be this close to me the entire time. Like, he will literally be, like, right here. He's going to be, like, to me. I want to see the Barbie movie so bad, though. I'm so excited. Which president helped create the U.S. highway system? Oh my god, y'all got this one right so fast. It's because I gave you a hint. I just graduated. I'm applying to my first big girl jobs and I'm nervous. Don't be nervous. On your resume, focus on transferable skills. So instead of talking about what your job is, pick the things that like are going to be the best for an office job and the experience you have, and talk about those things. Who was Robert Moses? I feel like it's a slight giveaway when the only right answer has an emoji. Yeah, I wanted to give you a freebie because a lot of the questions were hard. This is a long stream. I like it though. We have 2 more questions. The most immediate task to be completed after World War II was... I moved this to the front. I made this question number 1. I'm dancing like a teacher at homecoming. I like how you're just grooving. No, I was right there. No! Ooh, my Crocs. I love my Crocs. I forgot I had Crocs. No, you can't leave. I just got here. Gay Farbs, hi. Last question. Which school fought against a highway being put in, resulting in the highway going into a black community? I've been playing with this Swiffer the whole time. This is a Swiffer duster, and I'm out of the duster refills, but they never have it. They only have the one that comes with this, and I don't want extra plastic. I just want the refills. Amazon. What am I thinking? My dumbass. I bought razors today, too. Why didn't I buy these? All right. In first place, we have Apples, then Cosnita, then Drama Queen, Dusty Croissant, Ryan as Sarah, Alex, Emily, Elena, Gabrielle, Stinky Feet, Laurel K, Gabriella. Oh, multiple Gabrielle. Oh, Gabrielle and Gabriella. Sorry. Hi, I've missed so many streams. I miss it so much. I miss you too. Where was I? Stinky Feet, Laurel K, Gabriella, Heather, Beatrice, Brie, Katrin, Mr. Misty Eyes, Aim Lockett, Cassie, Kendriel, Cynthia, and Shay. Everyone slayed. Love that for us. All right. Last slide. Gonna hang out for a little bit, but it is 9:42 and I am hungry, so I'm not gonna hang out for super long. But Jesus. Notes, memes, chatting, whatever. I'm really sitting here waiting for you to call my name out, but I didn't even play. Aaron Martian, I'm really glad you're here. Next time, play the game. Thank you. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this topic. This is one of my favorite topics to talk about. Oh, I need my glasses. This is one of my favorite topics to talk about. I didn't get time in this earlier. I wept on my wedding anniversary. It's when Henry slipped the lovely gift ring on my finger. I sobbed. It's too pretty for my red dishwashy hands. Oh my god. Ooh, next lesson topic. First time joining. This is fun. So glad you like it. Welcome, Stinky Feet. It's almost always racism in the Cars cinematic universe being a result of World War II. Cocaine, the thrill that kills. Oh my god. 1950s ads were clickbait before clickbait. How can you keep me interested in history for 2 hours and my teachers couldn't even keep me awake for 15 minutes? Because I am very funny and very engaging and I talk about stuff that actually matters. If you wanted an actual answer. But now I'm realizing this was a rhetorical question. I'm not great at noticing which questions are rhetorical questions. One time, one of the agents at the brokerage said to me, "What can't you do?" And they meant just like, "You're really helpful." And I was like, "Oh, I can't do anything with commission." I was like, "I cannot talk to you about finance stuff at all." And they were like, and I was like, "Oh, sorry." True and profanity. Okay, Jenna Marbles, we stand. I love that y'all tell me I have Jenna Marbles energy. I'm obsessed with Jenna Marbles. She raised me. I like low-key stalked her child. Ka-chow. Gross topic, but thanks for the great lesson. Favorite soup reveal? Oh, it's a hard one. My favorite Trader Joe's soup is the tomato feta one. I also love like a good like chicken enchilada soup. Notes are posted. Sorry for low quality. Don't apologize. Open image in new tab. Love the notes, Lena. Thank you, thank you. Let me save this. My file organization. Look at all the gifts from this. All my downloads are just that. Thank you. Elena, we love the notes. Let's look. These are great notes. What are you talking about? These are literally great. Kelly, where's American Girl Dog? Men like Esquire. Oh my god, I hate men. Terrible. Okay, thank you so much for being here. I don't know what I'm doing next week. My schedule is a little different though. So for the next 2 weeks, I don't have energy to take notes like that after finally graduating. Yeah, for real. For the next 2 weeks, both like the week that's about to happen and the one after that, we're only going to be streaming on Wednesdays. So we're not going to be streaming on July 4th and we're not going to be streaming on July 11th. So that's my 2-week like summer vacation, is just doing Wednesday streams. So just so you know, I haven't decided what next week is going to be. I want to think about it. I don't know. I don't have an idea of what I want to do. But thank you so much for being here. This is the biggest joy and light of my life, is teaching people history on the internet. I love it so much. Have a good night. Make good decisions. I'm going to go buy a sandwich. Love you. Bye-byes.